A word of introduction for Parshat Pinchas. You have questions that come up all the time. Our holy warriors are in Jenin. I didn't have the news this morning. As far as I know, they're still in Jenin. And so our army only targets the terrorists. The whole shaila of collective punishment. You know that there's 10 terrorists in the house. And there's another 50, 60, 70, 80 innocent people in the house and children in the house, human shields and all that. So they just bomb the house. We go in, we try to shoot the terrorists. We're going to lose our boys so that we don't quote, hurt innocent lives. That's a very serious shaila. Everyone's going to have answers to that based on here. And that from a Torah perspective doesn't mean a lot. You're going to end up having more rahmanis on our soldiers, on them than our own soldiers, this and that. And you need to see sources. What are the sources? What are the halachas of war? Another example would be vigilante justice, where they kill a bunch of chas v'shalom Jews from our neighborhood, from your neighborhood, and then you're living in the Yudah Shomron, and you're just so angry, and you go set fire to the houses, and so everyone's going to have to deal with these guys, what they're doing, they're heroes, they're Rishom, they're villains, and everything that we say has to be based on source-based Masorah. You're just going to go by your emotions and what's considered to be proper, modern, Western values. That's not the Torah values. Sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. Often they don't. So you have to see what a Masorah says. In any topic. In any shaila, what's Yasha, what's Tov in the world today? What's Yasha and Tov? It's sick. It's insane. So you need not Western values, but Torah values. And it doesn't matter whether the Torah value seems to go against Western value. We go by our Torah values. Western values come and go. Torah values are Torah values. So this is a really delicate topic here. You have Pinchas ben Elazar, 3,300 years ago. He sees a Jew and a Gentile publicly together. And he does what he does, right? So let's say theoretically, you have the same scenario in Tav Shin Pei Gimel 2023. You walk out, you don't have a sword, you have a gun. You have a gun, and you see a Jewish guy with a Gentile woman publicly doing just what happened 3,300 years ago. Halacha l'maisa. What do you do? You're not? Nothing? How do you know? Just, you know what my middle name is? So you're saying there's no Pinchas anymore today. Okay, I hear that. This act going on Bifar Hesia in the middle of town. Fine, she is saying only in that situation. So good. Very good point. We always need to go back to the Torah scenarios and see, was that a specific scenario in the Torah's times? It has nothing, we can learn ethical lessons, but it's not halacha. Or no, that's a halachic lesson. Yeah, Julie. Okay, good. You got to find out from our sources, from our Masorah, what to do. Good. Okay, so now you have other, so you say in theory, maybe you should, but you have other external factors. Good, I hear that. Right? But here, Pinchas did in this case. So it was just a one-time case. Let's give examples. I go ahead and I read the parsha about man, collecting man. How much to collect? What about on Friday? What about Saturday? Yeah? So is that halacha l'maisa, how I should go shopping in Yesh? No, it's an interesting story and learn ethical lessons. We remember the man by doing what? Lechem Mishnah, we cover it, but you don't shop based on how much they shop during the midbar. Fine. What about putting a snake on the staff? Learn ethical lessons, not l'maisa. What about carrying in the Midbar, the ages of the Levium, when did they carry from when to when? When did they work the Levium?
20 to
50,
Up till 50, and they started when?
20.
30.
30 they started, and 25 was training. 25 to 30 was the training. 30 to 50 was the working. Oh, that's interesting. So is that Lamaisa today? Mitzvah Hashem will have the Mikdash today, Mitzvah Hashem. And we're going to call up all the Leviim. And who's the Levi here? There's a Levi. So assuming you're between 30 and 50, then you could work, otherwise not. Is that halacha lamaisa? And anyone over 50, sorry, you already reached your pension before you even started. Is that what we say? Good. Good. So I'm asking, I'm taking Torah scenarios and I'm asking which ones apply today or not. So the copper snake was a one-time thing. How to collect mana in the midbar, one-time thing. 30 to 50 traveling and carrying the Levium working. Was that then, or do we apply that now? Wow, it's a nice question.
Every time.
Do we have retirement at 50 for Levium? So guess what? The Rambam purposely writes in his Mishnah Torah in Hilchos Klei HaMikdash VaHa'ovdim Bo, Perek Gimel. That what? Don't be fooled by what the Torah writes 30 to 50. Don't be fooled. Starting age, yes. Ending age, not. The reason they had 50 in the midbar as the retirement age, because what were they doing in the midbar? Schlepping. That's what he uses. Schlepping. Okay. So you have to look at each Torah scenario and see how did that make it. Yeah, they do. They do. They wash the kohanim. That's great suchos. Yeah, and that's certainly not limited till 50. Correct. That's and maybe Esrim and the Rambam writes by Levim in the Mikdash. It's not limited. 50 was a limitation in the midbar, but not nowadays. The only thing he says is if a Levi's voice starts cracking and you can't really sing well anymore, so that would be you have the selection committee. Who's going to be on the committee to decide when the voice cracks? It's going to be a hard one, but. It goes by not the. No, if there's idea of car race that if a person lives past 50, a whole discussion in Moed Katan about that, but not if they violated the laws, that they could have an early death. That's correct. That's correct. So do you see this book over here? Shulchan Aruch. Now, is that going to answer our question? What? You think I'm going to schlep this big safer and it's not going to deal with it? It deals with Mitzvah. One day we'll have a harmony library here, Mitzvah Shem, with the Sfarim. But for now, if I'm schlepping this big heavy safer, there's a reason why. Now, it's always interesting. One of my favorite topics is which halachas are in the Shulchan Aruch. Because everyone knows there's a basic difference in the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch, which is what? The Rambam covers Mishnah Torah, how many mitzvos? 613. Everything. Mikdash, Tumah, Tahara, Aliyah, Regel, Korbanos, everything. There's not one mitzvah he doesn't treat. Just unbelievable. That's just magnum opus of Mishnah Torah. It's an unbelievable work. And the Shulchan Aruch covers what? Halachas that are what? Relevant in the 1500s when he wrote it, and today as well. Okay? So he doesn't have Mikdash, he doesn't have Tumah, Tahara, he doesn't have Sanhedrin, he doesn't have that. That's a priesthood of 3. There's not more than that. And so he has all the basics, but once in a while he surprises you by not having certain halachas that what do you have? Hechos Tshuva, why doesn't he have that? Hechos Lashon, why doesn't he have that? Hechos Avadim, does he have Hechos Avadim? Yes, it's one of the biggest chapters in the Shulchan Aruch. So it's like surprising elements of the Shulchan Aruch. What about Hilchos Kanaim Hogenbo? A Kanai, and you're saying a zealot we don't have anymore, right? Well, let's see what Rav Yosef Karo says. Okay, you may want to take out your revolver because cannot impogimbo are those halachas found in the Shulchan Aruch. So I have it open. Okay, you want to hear something crazy? Crazy. He writes the following. This is towards the very end of the Choshen Mishpat volume. There's 4 sections of the Shulchan Aruch, Orach Chaim daily matters, and there's marriage, of course, getting kedushin, yichud, all that. Sota, chalitza. It's in, believe it, that's in there. Which sota? What is it? Sota we don't have anymore. Amazing that that's in there too. The elements of sota that are relevant. He wants his wife and she's alone. We don't do the sota water for all this. Still, it's an amazing thing. You're right. You get that is eye catching. Then you have Yoredeus, Kashrus, Tefillin, Kashrus, writing a Torah, Nedarim, Avelis, just to sort of catch everything that didn't make it the other 3. And then Choshen Mishpat is Nezikin and damage is money. Here's what he writes. He writes, Chayav Mises based in. Someone who's Chayav Mises based in. So do we have a way today to have the execution of a person who violated one of the Torah laws? And the answer is what? No and yes. We don't have the ability to kill the person, to the person who's really a destructive part of the community, and it's a negative force in the community. We can't give Makos, we can't give the death penalty, but at least you could try to put him into Chayr. That we could do. Put him into Chayr, he's not part of the minion, no one should talk, no one should do business with him. A person who doesn't give his wife a get, even if based and said to. So they have some kind of shinayim teeth, but it's limited compared to what they had once. In Rowan based in Shutzorach Sha'ah, they see that it's a Tzorach Sha'ah. There's serious stuff going on in Migdal Mills, and they need to protect the wall. The walls are crumbling, and they need to have some extra measures. Yecholin la'anosh b'mashe yitzu. They have extrajudicial powers to do what they need. The community going. It's the best. Not theoretical, and someone who's running after not someone to kill, but to rape. I'm not going to kill her. He wants to rape, and you try to stop. And the only way to stop is by what? Shooting. He's big and strong. The only way he can shoot, so shoot not. The legs, but if you kill you, and yes, you yell out stop, and he does. And now the next case. He's in public, it has to be public, it's not private. Kanaim Pogimbo. A Kanai zealot takes care of them. Now go. The Davgash is Ruba, you have to stop it or else I'm confused. Wow, the Kanai comes to do this on his own, and he does not ask whom to base it. There's a big Rav Moshe Feinstein is there. Moshe, what should I do? What's the halacha? No, they don't answer. The Kanai himself has to do it. Im sha'al bastin ain more lokach. If he asks the basin what to do, they don't answer. Don't
Is
say.
this a positive spirit, or we just let him?
Kanaim Pogibo. Kanaim Moshe Sinai. Crazy. Allah. Ah, Allah
It's very close to saying it's not.
Kanai. Now he doesn't. You have to be a Kanai. Now, of course, the $1 million question is, who is the Kanai? So you're posking in that way. I don't see him posking in that way. You're saying that. He's not saying it. He's not saying it. You're stating that. Maybe you're right.
Not only that, some hybrid. 70 years, they never.
Correct. Correct. Okay. So great. On the win, mice in history. I don't know if there's Rabbi Beryl Wine or someone who knows history a lot better than I do. Was this ever a case? And I'm just trying to show the following. How do you define who is a Kanai? And Lamaisa, what does it mean practically? Good question. I'm just trying to show that, because here, the two consenting adults, he's not raping her, he's not forcing her, she's happy to do it, and it's the generation of live and let live, do anything you want, and they're doing it, they're consenting, they're not hurting anyone, which is certainly not the Western values of the day. But the Shulchan Aruch is quoting from the Gemara, which is quoting from the Psukim, and the Gemara says Halacha Moshe Sinai. There's a select group of laws that are called Halacha Moshe Sinai. Many halachas in Tefillin are Halacha Moshe Sinai. Every sheet or not sheet or halacha that we're learning a shear in halacha. The fact that you have to have a kazayis, if you have a kazayis of big, you get lashes. And it's not the only place in the Shulchan. It's mentioned in Choshev Mishpat at the end, and it's mentioned in Naz over there as well. 2 times that I know of, he says in the Shulchan. So it's just fascinating. It's a fascinating thing. Okay. What? Be worked out. Almost says he was with bird, but Rabbi Menachos Isur says they did convert. These are amazing topics. Amazing, amazing topics. So a less scary topic to finish. So it says that, so it doesn't always mention connected here. It mentioned Pinchas, the son of Elijah, the son of Aaron, and the commentaries come from 2 extremes. The Or Chaim says, you know why? You know he's connected to Aaron. The second shot, ben Aaron. So the second one, that he's a Kohen, and Aaron, what does Aaron represent? Peace and sweetness and the tzaddik. And you might say when you see Pinchas, the crazy zealot, he's a hot-headed guy. He loves action, and he had the perfect opportunity here to do it. And he was coming from, I'm G.I. Joe. Don't you remember G.I. Joe? So he was, that was the type. He wasn't coming Lashma. He was coming, if not for this, he would have found some other action to be involved in. No, not at all. He is Pinchas and Elazar ben Aaron, a man who loved peace, who loved shalom, who loved harmony. But he saw that there's a disaster here, and I need to go against my calm, peaceful nature and do this deed. That's how learn this piece over here. That's true. So some say over here he had to fight this, but it wasn't his nature. It wasn't a belligerent person at all. He was an Aaron person, but he had to do it, which we all have to learn how to do. Yes. Yeah, totally. That's right. So it wasn't his nature at all. You have to step up to the plate sometimes. Yeah, that's an amazing. Good. Good question. Is that nice? At the end of the previous box, it's a nice question.
He's trying to stop a plague that's killing us by the thousands.
No, but Edie's asking the specific question about God gave a command to Moses. It's a nice question. Okay, so the compliment. What? Yes. That's a great question. That's a nice thing. That even though Aaron is a man of peace, the Gemara does say the Kohanim never should necessarily hot-headedness of it. Where did that start from? It's a nice question. Nice thing to look into. It's a very good one. It's a nice question to look into. It is a good point. So this pshat is saying that Aaron is a sweet man and Pinchas is a sweet man, and he didn't just act because he's looking for action. He wasn't happy to do it, but he had to do it. Sometimes you have to step or diligent. It was calculated. Exactly. So that's why the Mefarshim say he connected to Aaron. And sometimes we have to do things in life we don't like. To me in school, the end of the year now, certain things I'm doing that are sickening. That staff, removal of staff. How disgusting is that? But so, my allegiance has to be to whom? Students. And if there's a nice staff member, but just not working, in my opinion, whatever not working means, obviously, okay, then I have to do something which is disgusting. And hopefully it's totally against my nature. And hopefully I'm in a bailiffs when I do it, but you have to go against your nature sometimes, or kicking out a kid. These are horrible things, and it's disgusting, and it's sickening, and this and that. But sometimes we have to do this. That's one shot. Another shot is not the opposite, but critical of Aaron. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh, we'll finish off with this. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh says that he's not bringing in Aaron in a praiseworthy manner. He's bringing kapara for where Aaron went off. Well, now, we can't say this. But the Or HaChaim can and does. Egel. Because at the Egel, when they started talking about the Egel, he should have gone ahead and stood up and like, hey, bye, buddy. This stuff. Put his foot down and show leadership. Now, we can't say this. You see, he was negotiating a very difficult situation. But the Or HaChaim is not as generous on this one. I'll read. So he says, Aaron היה סביל וחסר אונים בעת שהיה צריך לגלות מנהיגות לעמוד איתן נגד העם. He had to be strong, and he wasn't. And Pinchas went ahead and showed that strength, and that he didn't care about anything, and he was willing to literally go into the hornet's nest to go and do what was right and what was proper, and was showing almost a contrast that he did what was right and proper, is almost, so to speak, as kapara against Aaron, who didn't step up to the plate. Wow, that's a big finish. Yeah, so that's how many defend Aaron. It's a big topic over there. Yeah. Anyways, it's a great question. It's just opening. And let's just summarize some of the ideas. So we said that first of all, number one is when we approach any topic,
it has to be through the prism of the Torah. You're going to stop being on the boat 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Fast is born, you have gender and you have sex. Listen, but the gender's not, I don't remember what, but it's out of control. It's out of control. So Western values, you have to be very, very nervous about Western values. We have to, what the Torah says. Rav Moshe prided himself, and I'm not saying this was Rav Soloveitchik's approach, certainly not. Rav Moshe prided himself that every tshuva he ever wrote was only based on Torah, because he only learned what? Torah. This is obviously in contrast to the Rav Soloveitchik types that learn everything, and they held that you could learn it. It's not going to affect. Okay, it's an interesting topic. Anyways, so with that introduction, we go to Pinchas, and we see something which in today's morality, they don't care. They're happy to do what they want. No one's hurting. They know them, just them. It's consenting adults. And with this, Pinchas make its way into the postscript. Or is it a one-time thing like many things in the Torah? And shockingly, it's mentioned in the Shulchan 2 times in the 4 sections Shulchan, which is startling. How do you apply it today? Who's a Kanai? It's a great question. So no one go ahead and paskin nice based on what we learned today, but it is fascinating to see it made its way into the Shulchan. Then you have the category of Pinchas ben Aaron HaKohen, who is linked up to Aaron. Why? The Or Chaim gives a generous, the other shots give a generous a generous approach to Aaron by saying the Amic Davar and others say no, it was a compliment to Aaron that he is an Aaron follower. He's sweet. He wasn't doing this for elegant facts and just had to overcome his peaceful nature to do it. And that's a cover to Pinchas to show where he's coming from. The other one is Or Chaim, which is, Kiddush, and we can't speak this way, but the Or Chaim can. That no, there was a flaw there. His manhigut was not perfect. But he should have died. Okay, it's a whole big question. Should he really have died for that? It's a nice, maybe he should die for full deserve. It's a great discussion. But either that's Or Chaim, and therefore Pinchas is showing the manhigut that Aaron didn't have. That's a delicate shot. We don't talk that way about our leaders, but we can learn the Mefarshim who have the right to say what they have to say. Anyways, that's a little bit about Parshat Pinchas. Always a pleasure learning with everyone. And we should just, let's finish off with the tefillah, because we have our modern day heroes who are literally risking their lives for us. And Pinchas risked his life 3,300 years ago. We have our holy boys, little boys, mamish little boys, 20, 21, 22, and their commanders, 30, whatever old they are, literally risking their lives so we could walk around Mount Shemesh without a care. And we have to daven for them. You should say Tehillim for them. At Mincha Marav Shacharis, and if you don't know that Mincha Marav Shacharis, there at the end of the kind of so before you take it 3 steps back, daven for holy warriors in Judah. Hashem should protect them. And say Tehillim. It really should be on our mind, because that is literally kids are being most in nefesh, literally, so we can help and have Shia here in harmony. Yeah, as we speak. So it's really, really important to have our extra telos these days. Okay. It's your